I'm Kyle. I'm Aaron. This is Teen Talk.
Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kyle Flynn Davies and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at the Enneagram. The Enneagram is a personality typing system that looks at why we think the way that we think and why we do the things that we do. And I do Enneagram consultations and now I'm going to start doing Enneagram interviews with each type. So I thought I'd begin with my quarantine partner, my boyfriend Aaron, who is a type 7, the Enthusiast. I think you are. We're pretty sure you are. I'm a type 4, the romantic. We're just going to ask some questions. We've been having some difficulty because Aaron can't be serious, so it's going to be
I'm a type 7.
I mean, a little bit. So, how did you... I mean, I know the answers, but how did you learn about the Enneagram?
This guy. Yeah, Kyle's very into the Enneagram, so he's read literally every book there is to do with it. Well, I'd say 75%.
There's a lot of books. And what do you connect with about it?
Then I'm kind of to a point learning more about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I suppose a lot of the things that you've referenced about, always being excited, like the go-getter and, just the traits that you've described to me through a type 7 is definitely all the things that I encompass into my own life. Even stuff that I'm doing, just as it is, but there's a reason behind that.
Yeah. Well, and how you're always kind of trying to keep things joyful and stuff, even with like your art that you create.
Like to me, everything has to be happy. I don't like sitting on the negative. If something bad is happening, I gotta make a good of that situation, or just like start trying to think how I'm gonna come out the winning end. But it's also interesting to learn that my side bit is 8.
Your wings, yeah.
Yeah.
You were mentioning about your 8 wing, and how do you relate to the sort of type 8 within your type 7?
I mean, I know with 8 it's to do, like, a lot of, like, off bits of it is about anger and frustration and stuff. So as a person, I don't get angry that much, but generally when it does occur, there's a genuine reason behind it, and I'm able to kind of control it. So it is a very rare occasion, but there's always a reason behind it, and I can always kind of decipher where it's going and look back on it. And usually when it happens, the people around me are aware of why it is happening.
And the 8 has kind of the wings for a 7 are a 6 and an 8. And the 8 sort of has a bit more self-assuredness and less sort of worry, because you're not a big worrier.
Yeah, I'm not a worrier. I mean, I remember I used to worry when I was in the beginning of my bachelor's degree, and then it got to a point where I was like, oh my god, if I worry, it's not going to get me anywhere. So all my friends would be worried about me, and then I'm like, if I worry, I'll get nothing done. Think in a certain way, just keep going, and then everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm always assured of myself, because I'm like, if I can't be assured of me, then I can't help other people either. So
yeah, makes sense. So the 7 are part of the thinking triad, and their underlying emotion is fear. So how do you relate to the emotion of fear? Like, how do you see that in your life?
I don't really worry about fear. If I have in my mind that I'm kind of frightened about something, I kind of just throw myself in head first and do it, and that kind of battles the fear. And at least I know if I've tried it and I want to do it again, then I will. But also it kind of excites me, these fears. So
yeah, that makes sense. So the 7 gets described as sort of the energizer in like a social situation. In social groups, their social role is the energizer. Do you think you relate to that, and how do you sort of...
I mean, yeah, I definitely don't like, when some people are saying, oh, are you that person who takes over in a group? Like, to an extent I might, but on the other side I don't. Like, if I see a group, there's nothing much happening, I try to get people involved, especially when you're younger and people are kind of separated into different groups and don't mingle. I've done a lot of things in the past, like Share and Mehel and all these other groups, where you are thrown with people that you've never come across and completely different backgrounds. And I think diversifying that really helps. So because of the skills I learned from that, I've kind of implemented that into every job role I've ever had. And especially when I was going to uni and doing other kind of events, or if I was involved in any groups. So yeah, I like to be the centre of attention to an extent, but I always make sure that it's going to benefit other people around me.
Yeah, so you like to get the other people around you kind of hyped.
Yeah, get them pumped. I'm like a ball of energy, a ball of excitement, and I want to like fuse that together with their kind of worries, and like try and make it a positive experience for everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, I know the answer to this, but like, what fictional characters do you think or character do you relate to the most that you've seen?
Lorelai Gilmore. So me and Carl at the moment are rewatching all the episodes, and like
Gilmore Girls.
I didn't realise that Carl was a big fan of Gilmore Girls like me, so I think I'm on my like 5th go. You're on your
I'm
third,
only on my second,
third. So yeah,
of like watching them from start to finish.
But I've always watched them on my own, or with one of my friends, Kira. We might have watched random episodes. But obviously watching it with Kyle, we've analysed it and looked at even the cast and what their Enneagram is and everything else.
Yeah, whenever I'm watching a TV show, I'm always like thinking about what characters are what Enneagram type. We even watched a different video by Abby Howe, I think it is, and she did. She kind of talked about what Enneagram type she thinks the Gilmore Girls characters are.
There were so many traits that Lorelai had, and I never realised it until Kyle kind of was like, "Oh, that's you. Just like, you know,
pretty much every scene.
The excitement she gets, how she likes to create this kind of eccentricity in her life, the way she does her clothes, the like pop culture references. Thankfully, I have a better relationship with my family than she does. But apart from that, I think the way she really cares about everyone around her and always strives to do the best, but in a positive manner. She just executes things like very specifically. But then, like her, I do kind of run away with myself at times and get so transfixed on making something really great that I might do maybe 5 or 6 things rather than focusing on that one thing.
Yeah. And then in sort of each Enneagram has its own kind of title. So the title for the Type 7 is the Enthusiast. And do you feel like that's descriptive of you?
Yeah, because I mean, everything I do, I'm always enthusiastic about. So like, even if, say, I'm having a down day, or like I'm not, to the point where I usually am, people recognise it straight away. I mean, that's a very, very rare day. Yeah, so I definitely gratify towards being the enthusiast over most other things. Just because, to me, everything has to be given 100%. And if you're not enthusiastic about it, then what's the point of partaking in it? So yeah, I'd say that definitely defines who I am.
That makes sense. And then finally, we're going to talk about sort of disintegration and integration. So they're kind of integral to the Enneagram, and kind of what makes it different from other personality type things. So each Enneagram type is connected to other types on the kind of circle image, and each line goes to another type, and it's where each type goes to when they are stressed, or where they go when they are sort of at their best and becoming more grounded and more realised in their kind of best self. So for a 7, your line of disintegration goes to a Type 1, which is the reformer, the kind of perfectionist, and their line of integration goes to a Type 5, which is the investigator, who is kind of almost the opposite of a 7, because while the 7 is kind of just trying to like tick things off and get big ideas and stuff, and always coming up with new ideas, the 5 is really focused and detail oriented, so they want to kind of really go in depth about one specific thing. So do you kind of relate to those? So
well, I suppose with me, because I've done my BA in fine art and my MA in textiles, And for everything that you're doing, you have to be very specific. You have to have a time scale, or you have to be on top of everything. With accessory textiles, if you're producing these, they have to be like visually beautiful, and that takes a lot of time to perfect. It might take you 5 or 6 goes before you actually make a finished piece you're proud of. And even at that, you have at the back of your brain, could have done this right, I could have done this more. So you're going to be your worst critic, because I mean, you always have it in the back of your mind. You're thinking about what others are doing. You're thinking, oh, is this what I want to put out there to kind of represent me? And I've always been a perfectionist in everything I've done. My parents laugh at me for it, because they're like, oh, you've been doing that for hours, but I can see parts that, as most creators will probably tell you, that others won't see straight away.
That makes sense.
So
and then when you're kind of becoming your best self, do you think, like when you're at your best, do you think that you become a lot more focused and a lot more kind of have sort of a type 5 energy of sort of being passionate about a topic, and kind of going into the details of that topic rather than just kind of skimming over it?
no, like I have
to like tick it off a list.
be completely invested in it.
Yeah.
I need to know all the background history, the implications that can be involved, how it might affect others around me. Obviously, it can depend on what situation or what kind of activity you're doing, but I like to be very knowledgeable in the area, so that per se, if something like this happened, I would know what I'm talking about and know what I'm kind of implementing within structures.
Yeah. So, and finally, like, what do you think you find helpful, sort of, as a type 7, what do you find helpful to kind of relax you, or sort of keep you grounded, keep you level-headed? What do you kind of do in your daily life to kind of keep you grounded and level-headed? And
I mean,
calm?
I'm pretty good that, well, pretty lucky and fortunate that I've got a good family unit of friends. I know a certain handful of my friends, I can ring them up, throw an idea at them, or be like, oh, do you think I should do this? I think I'll do that. But obviously, even if their decision is different to what I go with in the end, at least I've had that in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I like to process different people's views on what I might be doing.
Yeah, so kind of socialising, asking other people, and that kind of keeps you...
Because I think you can't kind of be that headstrong and just go with your gut feeling or your direct thought. You need to consider other elements as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about with the Enneagram, or your type specifically, that kind of you would want to say, or any advice for other type 7s?
So no, I'm fine. I think I have everything I need, and if I need anything, I will ask you. You sitting right next to me, so...
Yeah, I mean, we're stuck in quarantine now for the foreseeable future, so we've got plenty of time for me
How many books is there?
bore you about the Enneagram. I've got 5, so you can read all 5 books.
Isn't that including the 2 in the post?
That includes the 2 in the post.
But there's 5, and there's the internet, so I think I'm set.
Yeah. Cool. And if you have any more questions about the Enneagram, or questions for Aaron as a type 7, you can leave them in comments down below, or feel free to message me on Instagram at Flynn Davies Enneagram, or even email me, flynndaviesenneagram@gmail.com. I do Enneagram consultations. There's kind of like prices and more information on my Instagram, and I post there pretty much every day. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more Enneagram interviews, or even some like fashion and craft stuff, I also do that on this channel. So yeah, feel free to subscribe, and if you enjoyed it, give it a like. Thanks, bye. Thanks.
Done.